Hi, everybody. Welcome to Show It Live here on showittier.com. I'm Field. This is Liz.
We are so glad that you have joined us today for a very special episode of Show It Live. This is a weekly webcast that our team here at Show It produces. Each week we bring on a different guest and we talk about photography, we talk about small business ownership, and creative life in general. And we have amazing guests today, Graham and Ashley Scobey, all the way from outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. They're outside.
They're actually inside in their house. We got to talk to them a little bit earlier, and Ashley is dressed up to celebrate our Christmas episode. We didn't get as dressed up as maybe we told them we were going to. Although you are wearing plaid today, so you look very festive.
Yeah, well, we had the perfectly plaid Christmas Show It Tier party last Thursday, and it's really comfortable.
I think, if I remember correctly, you and Jason from our team, who is also a bearded man, showed up in the same outfit.
That he already owned the shirt. And then Carrie was going out to buy me a plaid shirt, and Jason saw the picture of it on my screen. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I have that shirt!" And so I messaged Carrie. He's like, "Jason has the shirt," and she goes, "Oh, do you not want me to get it?" I said, "No, now you have to get it.
Get that,
so we can dress the same and confuse everybody." I was confused.
It's obviously a very popular shirt.
It's so comfy. Well, Target.
And everything at Target is plaid this year. Yeah. And so it worked out really well. Last Thursday, we had our Show It Tier Christmas party, which is kind of becoming an annual tradition. This is the 5th or 6th year that we've had a Show It Tier Christmas party. And it looks like we were out in the snow. This is a little bit of a Photoshop.
It was so cold out.
It was so cold.
I remember it like it was last Thursday.
We had an indoor-outdoor party. We had 60-plus Show-It-Tiers come and just enjoy with us, and we had a wonderful time. So thank you so much if you were there. And if you weren't there, kind of mark it on your calendar, second Thursday of December. Yeah. That's when we do this.
We even had some celebrities there.
We did.
Buddy the Elf.
Elf. He shows up in our office a lot.
Boba Fett was there.
Yep. Yeah. You'll see that in the picture if you look again. We have some really exciting stuff happening this week, though. So that was last week. This week, what's happening, Field?
Well, these are a few of my favorite things.
Oh, it makes me want to watch The Sound of Music.
Yeah, it's not true. They're not my favorite things. So this week we started off Monday or Sunday, depending on when you start your week, but with Jasmine Starr's 5 favorite things. So she was in town and she started singing about her 5 favorite things.
She did.
And these were them for photographers, like just starting out in your business. These were some of the things that she used early on in her business that just she loves and adores, and I think she still has even, which is wonderful. So we're doing 5 days of giveaways for Christmas on Jasmine's 5 favorite things, and day 1 started yesterday, it was a 50 millimeter 1.4.
Such a good lens.
Yeah, it's a great lens.
That's the lens that stays on my camera all the time. Like I have my camera up high, so Lily can't get it, but she probably could climb up there. But I keep my 50 millimeter on there all the time, and it's a great, just like taking pictures of life lens.
Oh yeah,
perfect for wedding photographers. So that's what we're giving away. We're about to announce that on our Instagram account. So if you're not following us on Instagram, you should be. It's at showit.co. We're going to announce that really, really soon. And then today we're giving away a professional flash.
Yes.
Which is huge. And I love the way that Jasmine described, like, this is going to illuminate your life and your work. It's very fun.
So many
photo puns.
Very punny.
Yeah, very punny. So today we'll be giving away the flash. And again, we will announce the winner tomorrow on our Instagram account at 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Well, when we announced it, she used to use the 580 EX2. Which is no longer available. So we're actually doing the 600, which is the upgrade.
That's sweet.
Super
fun.
fun.
And that's if you shoot Canon. Now, if you happen to win one of these and you shoot Nikon like I do, we will send you the Nikon equivalent. Yes. In the pictures, you can see the Canon product, but we will send you the Nikon equivalent if that's what you shoot.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's important to note because there are 2 different sides.
There are 2 different. You have to choose your teams. I talked about that in an article that I wrote for showittier.com recently. That the number one thing that you have to do when you think you're going to start a photography business is choose your team.
Yeah.
Team Canon or Team Nikon.
It really doesn't matter. They're both made in Japan, so.
You know, I did a lot of research when I went to buy my camera, and another professional photographer recommended that I just hold both cameras.
Oh, sure.
Hold them in your hands and choose the one that felt right. And so it came down to that, and a Nikon felt right in my hands. Later, I heard that they were for man's hands. They were designed for man's hands, which is not what I have. I don't have man hands, but anyway, whatever you shoot, we would love for you to win a lens or a flash, or on Friday, we're giving away something super cool.
Yeah.
5 years of Show It 5.
Yeah, that's a crazy deal. I'm actually borderline not okay with how awesome this is.
You cannot win it. You work here.
Well, I know. but it's a super sweet deal. So pay attention to enter. You can actually go to showit5.com, and if you scroll down to the bottom of all that awesomeness, there's a place for you to enter and gain extra entries by sharing it out, and you can do that each and every day.
Yeah, share it with your friends, or if you actually happen to have some of these, but you know people who are just starting out, or maybe they need to upgrade and replace something. If they've got maybe a 51.8 and they want to go with the 1.4, let them know about the contest and tell them to enter.
Yeah, and sharing with your friends, it's not one of those things like, I really want to win, so I'm not going to share it out. No, you actually gain entries by sharing it out, so you increase your odds of winning. So it's
a good thing, and it's the season to like give and share and celebrate. It's also the season to celebrate some really cool Show It designs that have come out. Every day, I feel like somebody is launching a brand new, really cool Show It site, and we get to see them in the Show It Tiers group. And so we have a few that we wanted to mention that we saw that you have posted up this week. First off, yesterday, Troy and Ashley Yantis, who we love, they were with us here at United. Their brand new site, yantisphoto.com, went live, and Raven Static did this site for them. And I just love it because it really embodies who they are. They're very fun and joyful, and their
happy
photos,
and bright people.
Yeah, their photos are bright and happy, just like you said, and it's just such a great site, and we're super excited for them.
Yeah, and I love these two. Ashley actually sent me a text when it went live, and she's like, "Yay, we're finally Show It Tiers!" Like, it's a really big deal. I love their site, and they're just two wonderful people. Troy and Yo.
Oh, so he's on Yo. Okay.
He's on Yo, so that's how you know he's awesome.
Okay.
There's this app called Yo. Look it up and find me on there. It's so great.
You can just Yo field all day long. Yo. Another site that we absolutely love that went live, I think it was yesterday, is Leilani Golden's site. Yeah. So beautiful. It's called lgolden.com. You can go check that out. And
check out her About section. There's all sorts of wonderful things in there. She was a television news reporter, which is great. She shoots film, so therefore she is instantly awesome.
She's cool in your book.
Yeah, like that creates awesomeness for me. She's a dog lover. She happens to take care of the cat as well. I won't hold that against her. But she has, when she was going through college, she drove a bus to pay for her college. Like, that is the American dream.
So she has like a CDL license, like the heavyweight.
Yeah. She still has it. So I think we're going to get a bus and she can drive it around. I think it's a really good idea.
That's awesome. Oh, I love that. So congratulations to Leilani on your new site. And finally, Kelly Calypso Pollock launched her new site on Sunday. And this was a site that was designed by Louise Ross. And I just love this site. It's so, again, like bright and cheerful, but it really feels like Kelly, and her business is called KP Photography, and so you should go and check that out. I loved her About Me, but her menu bar on the left hand side I thought was just really, really cool, and the way that things sort of grow on her site, the artwork and the graphics kind of grow along the sides. I just think it's really, really cool design and really embodies who she is.
Now, I won't hold it against any of them because they're new to Show It, but none of these sites are utilizing Snow It right now. So it's the winter season. Although in most places it's not snowing.
It's not.
Like the standard snowing places.
I've heard it's just really, really warm on the East Coast, and actually California is the one that is getting like some crazy weather now. And Oregon and Washington we're getting crazy weather. And here in Arizona, the leaves are finally starting to fall. We're experiencing a little bit of autumn.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this time last year, Buffalo was in like snowpocalypse. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Well, I saw Mary Morantz just posted a photo of last year where they were in the snow and she had this sled, and I think it's like 65 degrees in Connecticut today.
There was a guy on the news, and it was all over Facebook today. He was out running like just in shorts, and he's like, "Hey, I'm single."
Crazy.
Like,
Scott Kretschmann, who was the Show It Tier yesterday, he mentioned like in the Facebook group, I really want to put Snow It on my site. It just doesn't seem right though, because it's not 70, cold here.
It'd be like doing it in winter, in summer.
I know.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, to us it starts to feel cold when we hit like 50 degrees.
It'll definitely be snowing in March.
Yes.
And in early March, people are going to want to get out of the snow.
They're probably going to want to go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, and we have something for them to do while they're there.
We do. We have the WPPI dinner in Las Vegas. It's the Show It Tier dinner. And this is going to be on Sunday, March the 6th.
Third annual.
Yeah. Such a fun night.
That means we do it 3 times a year, right?
No, we do it once a year.
Once a year.
Sunday night before WPPI starts. We're going to have a show at booth in the expo at WPPI this year, but we want to celebrate with all the showatiers that are there. So go and grab your tickets, and if you go to showatier.com, you can actually find a little article on there that has tickets to the WPPI showatier dinner, and there are still a handful left, so you're going to want to grab those.
So, and last year we had a booth, and it was right across from Shootproof.
Yes.
And I didn't know it at the time. This was my very first interaction with a man that I would eventually fall in love with, Graham Scobey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there for like 8 minutes on the booth floor, and he took a picture of our group.
Yep.
And he was just this super kind guy.
I
didn't realize
such
this.
Such a nice guy.
I didn't realize that it was even Graham until I think it was all of yesterday.
You have to start putting like all of the pieces together. But Graham and Ashley Scobey, who are our guests today, they are going to be speaking again at WPPI.
Yeah.
They're going to be talking about...
They have a master class.
They have a master class. They're actually
awesome.
going to be talking more in depth about what we're talking about on the show today, which is building a business that supports your dreams, which I love. I love that idea. But they are the kindest, sweetest people. And and they're connected to Shootproof, which is a company that we love. And really funny, like Graham had taken our team photo while we were there.
Really, and it was my first interaction, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Yeah. They are based outside of Atlanta, and I love the way that they describe themselves. They're husband and wife wedding photography team, but they describe themselves as wedding photojournalists, which I think is really cool because it just tells you that they are really about documenting authentic moments on a wedding day, which I love. They have an associate photographer that is part of their business, and they have 2 adorable little children.
They do have great kids. Yeah.
And they're right here, and Ashley's wearing Christmas pajamas.
Yes. Yeah. Welcome to the show. This is part of there may have been a dress code that other people didn't follow for today's show. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're super excited to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. So Graham, do you remember this last year at WPPI or this year?
I do. Yeah. I remember specifically being at the booth and you guys asking me to take your photo, and then I think it was later that evening we were walking down a hall going to one of the mini parties that happened at WPPI, and you and Todd were walking the other direction down the hall, and you stopped and you gave me a hug. Both of you gave me a hug, and I was like, I love these people. I love Show It people because they're huggers. They're all huggers.
We are huggers. That's very true.
This is true. This is how we greet people. And if they seem a little like, I don't know about you, I'll shake their hand, get to know their name, and they'd be like, well, now I know you. I'm going to hug you.
See, that's great because when they do this, I'm like, oh, I'm Field. I'm a hugger. And it's
I'm sorry, I'm a showatier. I'm a hugger.
You go straight through that uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get the bro hug, which is totally cool.
So, and you can trick them too, right? You can go in for the handshake, and then once you have their hand in your hand, you just pull them in.
Yeah. That's harassment.
Yeah. Well, or love. Which,
depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's awesome. Well, you guys are joining us today to talk about a subject that's really near and dear to your hearts because you love your business, but you love your life, and you have a lot of dreams, and you love to see other people actually lay out those dreams and go after them, not just let them be this thing out there that never actually happens. So today we wanted to talk about just 3 specific steps that you have outlined to having more freedom in your business that then allows you to chase those dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that happens with small business owners that we've seen hundreds and hundreds of times is that we have this thing that we want to go after, and sometimes we go after it with so much gusto and with so much of our time and our energy that we find we don't have anything left for the rest of our lives. And we really have a heart for small business owners and creative entrepreneurs specifically, because if you're not careful, this thing that started as a dream can become this thing that drowns you, right? It can become something that really sucks a lot of joy and a lot of time from you. And for us, like you said, Liz, we have 2 small kiddos, and that is the 2 most important things in our life, and we want to have a lot left over for them. And so we, over the past few years, have kind of really dug into what it looks like to have your small business be the thing that supports your dreams and be the thing that is this life raft for you and for your passion.
That's awesome. So here at Show, we're all about small businesses and supporting small businesses. Like, for instance, there are landscapers actually here right now that you may be able to hear. They're fantastic guys, and so every now and then pretty much every week
episode
during the
of Show Alive.
They're coming by. Like right now, they're blowing leaves, which is totally fine. They're awesome people. But so I apologize if you hear a gentle murmur in the background.
It's just the elves working in the background on Show Up 5, you guys.
Seriously,
that's all it is. It's a hum from the engine room.
Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love what you said about you want to have a lot left over for your kids, not just a little bit. And I think when we start our small businesses, we don't realize just how all-encompassing they can become. And I remember one night my husband walked in and said, "Are you working tonight?" And it was 8:30 at night. And I thought, okay, this is a problem. We have a 3-year-old. Am I working tonight? And it's already 8:30 and I've blown through dinner, and that's just a crazy, crazy way to live. Mm-hmm. So was there a turning point for you guys that you just said, like, was there a day that you said this just cannot go on anymore?
Yeah, I don't know that it was I can't narrow it down to a day. But when we talk about, the past events in our lives, we talk about them in terms of seasons. Mm-hmm. And there was definitely a season that we realized that exactly what Ashley was just talking about had happened to us. We had gone after this dream that we had shared together. We had put so much of ourselves into it, so much so that we were identifying ourselves. We were defining ourselves by our business. And so when it was a subconscious thing. We weren't saying like, hey, I'm Graham, and the only thing you should know about me is that I'm a photographer and I have this awesome business that I'm really excited about. But that's how I was living, right? Mm-hmm. And so we got to a point. It was it was very similar to the story that you just shared of like, we were down in the studio.
It was probably like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, we had built our volume of weddings up to 45 that year. It was the first year that we went from I think 12 weddings the year before to 45 weddings the next year, and we did that for 3 consecutive years. And in that season, there was a moment where we were both downstairs. We were working. I was editing. Ashley was working on a blog post. We were, there was 103 unanswered emails in our inbox, and it was just, I think it just kind of dawned on us that, hey, it's great. Like, we can be proud of the fact that we've built a business and we've kind of hit the goals that we want to hit. But now it's time to start thinking about our life goals, mm-hmm. In addition to our business goals, because that's a conversation we hadn't ever had before. We'd had lots of conversations about what are the goals for our business, what do we want to accomplish with our business, what are the financial goals, and what kind of, if we're submitting to contests or submitting to magazines, like, where do we want to be, where do we want to position our business. But we had never talked about, like, where do we want to position our lives? Who do we want to be as people?
Yeah, and I think we don't want anybody out there to feel like shame about the fact that you end up working late some nights, or that you are like in the hustle and grind. Like, that is part of being a small business owner. And I am really wary to talk about like balance, because I feel like it does make people feel like they're doing something wrong. But I feel like if you ever wake up one morning and you think this isn't fun anymore, then at that point you really might want to start looking at how you can start sort of building your business around your personal goals and your dreams, as opposed to forming everything else in your life around your business. Mm-hmm.
Well, and thinking about what those goals are for your business, like what the ramifications of those goals are, it always makes me think of Aladdin and the genie, and when, like, he wants to be the most powerful genie in the world, but you get an itty bit of living space. And so you have to think about, like, if I get this thing, if I shoot 45 weddings, it means I have 45 albums to do. Like, there's always going to be consequences for going after those specific goals. You laid out for us today 3 specific steps. And the first one was called Let Go of Pride. So what does letting go of pride have to do with getting some freedom back and building a business that supports your dreams?
Yeah, absolutely. So letting go of pride is a really important thing, and it's something that we feel like we know about because we've struggled against it so hard in the lifespan of our business. We have struggled against like comparison and wanting to be the best and wanting to always win and like all those things. I am the consummate overachiever, so this is really, really hard for me. But letting go of pride allows you to create goals for your business that are a direct reflection of you and not a reflection of somebody else, right? Which is really, really important.
Yeah, I think like we were talking about a little bit earlier, like when you are so invested in your business, you can inject a lot of pride into that thing. And so, not only do you become defined by it, but you really, like, anything that happens to that business, good or bad, is going to affect you emotionally and affect your self-worth, the way you define yourself. Mm-hmm. It becomes defined by the way you're defining your business. And so for us, letting go of pride is a step towards finding your own definition of yourself. Like Ashley said, one way of doing that is we all play this comparison game, right? Like where we go and we look at other people's work and it's awesome and it makes me feel like my work's no good. And or the other way around, like you may go and look and you're like, oh, I'm really good. Look at this. But that game that we play, it's totally destructive to us as creatives, because what we start doing is we start saying whatever this person is doing out there that I value so much, I want to do that, instead of discovering what your voice is and what your contribution to the world is. And so a big part of for us, a big part of letting go of pride is approaching your business as if it was the gift that you were giving to the world.
Yeah. So for us, we believe that we've been created with a specific set of giftedness and that everyone's is different. And so when you kind of approach your business in that way, it really helps with stopping that comparison monster. Like I need a 10-step program for everything. And so that's kind of been the way that I have sort of stopped the comparison monster in its tracks. It's mean, ugly tracks. It's just to believe that, like, I have been created with this skill set and this unique giftedness that nobody else has, but so has everyone else. And as a result of that, I need to celebrate other people's successes. I need to, when other people have a win, instead of being like, oh my gosh, that was mine, or I was just about to write a blog post about workflow, like whatever it is, right. Instead to say, like, good for that person, and here's how I'm going to take a different road, or do my own spin on this thing, or how I'm going to use my giftedness in a unique way.
That's something we've really seen the Rising Tide Society kind of take on and lead the charge in lately, is that idea of community over competition, and that her success is not my failure, which is another movement and organization. And I think that that's such a great way to look at it, that we all have unique gifts, and that's something we really believe here at Show It, that everyone is inherently creative, and you need to go and be creative in your way. And what is it your wife says? Be the best version of you. Like, no one wants you to be someone else. Everybody wants you to be the authentic version of you. And I think Carrie said something to that effect that I thought was just really, really true and really honest. And it's just such a good way to look at our businesses. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and because honestly, I would make a terrible Graham Scobey. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, I can't. This is so awesome. I can't do that. I have to be the version of Field that is the best version.
You have to be you and use your gifts. And we would love to know, if you are out there in the chat, jump on. It's one of the great things about Show It Live that you can actually ask questions of our guests during the show. So we would love for you to log in and ask any questions that you have of Graham and Ashley, and maybe share with us, like, is there an area that you feel really gifted in that isn't necessarily photography? I know we talk a lot about photography on Show It Live, but really this is a show for all creatives. So I'd love to know, like, are you a baker? Are you a writer? Are you
a candlestick maker?
A candlestick maker? Or, I don't know. Do you make wooden toys? Because some people make wooden toys, not just elves. Number 2 on the list, and I loved this one. Moving on from elves, number 2 on your list was creating margin, and I think this is one we struggle with, as not just as creatives, but as small business owners. Creating margin is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is, and to kind of like define that, like we I think so often in our life we have written to the edge of the page. So when you look at like our finances, you look at the way we spend our time. We are using every available resource at any given moment, right? So we don't have anything left over. We don't have, any surplus, and that surplus is where freedom comes from, right? When you have additional time, you can focus on what matters most. You can focus on your dreams, and when you have extra money, you can use that money to bless others, and you can use it to forward your dreams in the world. And so creating margin just simply means like figuring out where you're stretched to the limit and pulling yourself back in.
Yeah, creating space there. Yeah. Absolutely. There's a book by Cloud and Townsend called Boundaries that I read a few years ago, and it really sort of changed the way that I thought of margins, because it talks about sort of how dreams are made and how the things that are important are created in the margins of your life, like Graham was talking about. And small business owners have a very unique challenge in this, because you are everything. You are the accountant and the bookkeeper and the designer and the photographer, and it is all you. And it's really easy to, this is kind of like twofold. It's really easy to take a lot of pride in that and have kind of an ego about that, but it's really easy to get super burnt out. And so part of creating margin is to be okay with outsourcing. Be okay with the fact that you don't have to be the only person on your bus. We're really big about everybody having the right seat on the bus. And in our business, we realized early on that editing was not the right seat on the bus for either of us. And so we really quickly started outsourcing that and just let it go. And it created margin for us that we got to take and do something more important.
And that's one thing that was really difficult for me because of my pride. Going back to our last point, we had together built this business. Did you hear that Freudian slip there? I had built this business.
On rock and roll.
Yeah. We had built this business together, but I felt like I owned every accomplishment that ever came my way because of that business, and that it wouldn't be the same without me, and that everything that I did was so critical to the business. And this was all my pride telling me lies, right? It was me wanting to inflate my sense of worth by saying like I'm ultra important to this business, but really and truly the truth for me that I had to discover was that most of the stuff that I do, there's somebody that can do better than I can.
Which is so hard for us to say, but it's 100% true.
Yeah. I mean, most if not all. I would, if I was being honest, I would say all, but I still have a little bit of pride. So I'm going to say most of the stuff that I do, somebody could do better than I can. And so that's a big, it's big in letting go of your pride to be able to outsource and say, look, I trust you with this because you can do a better job than I can. And it's a big part of creating margin in your life.
Yeah. Another part of creating margin in your life is to realize that for small business owners, time management is the same thing as self-management, right?
Yeah, you can't manage time. Like it's always moving at the same pace.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. So you have to manage yourself, and you have to say the things that you are willing to spend your time on, how much time you are willing to spend on it, and then capturing the rest, saving the rest for the things that really fill you up and are really centered to who you are, like at your core.
Yeah, and a part of that, I love this illustration. I heard Richie Norton speak once, and he was talking about Stephen Covey's concept of the Bermuda Triangle of time. And you can Google it so you can get the visual to go along with it. It helps me to like see it.
A graph.
But yeah, if you imagine you have like two axes, and on one axis you have the importance of a task,
yeah,
and on the other, I'm ignoring you guys. On the other, you have the urgency of a task, right? So yes, like this, importance.
People can't even
urgency.
Hear what you're saying because it's great. You should Google.
You should Google.
We're Googling it for you.
Yes.
JT is back from vacation, which
awesome.
we really love.
From near the Bermuda Triangle, actually.
He was hanging out in the Bermuda Triangle.
We will outsource our Googling to you, JT.
But the basic concept, I'll try and summarize it. The basic concept is that we spend our days starting with our critical activities that are very important and very urgent, and then moving into interruptions, which are things that are very urgent but not very important. And we kind of bounce back and forth until we have no more energy, and then we crash to things that are not urgent or not important, like Facebook.
Distractions.
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
That is important.
Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And
ATL.
The issue with that pattern is that it completely precludes us from spending time on things that are very important but have no urgency, and that's where our dreams live.
Yeah.
Right? Our dreams are things that we
That's it.
There we go.
Well, that's not it. But that's also
close.
a good figure.
It's a
triangle, and
a
it's about
triangle.
time management.
Yeah.
Yay, JT.
Here's the greatness of Google, and also the trouble of Google. You can find all sorts of stuff, even stuff that you may or may not be looking for.
The right.
But that also had some really great thoughts in there.
It did.
But I love that. That is such a true statement, though. That things that are really important to you, but they have no urgency, are always the things that get put aside. It is really important to me to bake cookies with Lily, but that doesn't have a high amount of urgency in terms of like, you need to get your homework done, you need to take a bath, all those other things that
I'll take a bath.
Yeah.
Oh, you were talking about...
No, I was talking about Lily.
Okay, confused. But this also goes to... If you've read the book Entree Leadership by Dave Ramsey, or Lord Ramsey, if you live forever, he talks about breaking down your day in this and basically writing out a to-do list on things that are urgent and important, things that are urgent but not important, things that are important but not urgent, and things that are not urgent and not important. And like you basically disregard that last one. But you go through, and if you have time to you start with the things that are urgent and important and blah, blah, blah. But this Megan actually came up with a really good question that goes along with this. Is how do you stay organized, right? Like where do you set your margins? And she was wondering if you use like Excel or what do you use to stay organized?
Yeah.
Great question, Megan.
So we're really big on systems in our business, and there's several reasons for that, but the most important one for us is that we have people that work with us. And so we want anything that we do more than once, we're going to create a system for. We're going to write down the protocol. We're going to say these are the steps, so that at any given time, if I can't do that thing, then someone else can do it, and they'll know how to do that, even if they've never done it before. So this is something I learned from the first studio that I worked at for a lady named Carla Tenike, who's an amazing photographer.
Also a hugger.
Also a hugger. She's awesome.
I like her.
Yeah, we love her already.
She sounds
We'll
great.
hug her the first time we meet.
Yeah, but she had a protocol binder that she kept all of her systems in. Like anything that she made a protocol for, it went in the binder. So having something in tangible form, like we could have a whole another conversation about that and the importance of that. But
let's do a show live on that too.
We should do that.
Let's do it.
Next week I'm not doing anything. If you'd like.
Good. But that's to me that's a good start. Like there's all sorts of really good technology to keep yourself organized, but having something in tangible form for certain things makes more sense than having it on Google or Trello or one of these other things where you forget where it is and you never go back and reference it.
Yeah.
And then
so on the practical side of that, just to give shout outs to some of our favorite like Graham was saying, like companies or systems that have helped us to kind of simplify our workflow. We love ShootQ. We love Shoot.edit. Lots of shoots in our Shoot-proof.
So many shoots.
So many shoots. If you shoot in the name of your business, we will give you money.
Shoot it. Show it. Shoot it.
We're gonna change your name.
Like companies like that have come a long way towards helping small business owners be able to systematize, and the more you can do that, the better, in the littlest things and the biggest things. I can't tell you how many people who are like a year or two in their business come to one of our workshops and will be like, what's your client contact management look like? What's your lead management look like? And they're like, well, they email me and I write them an email back. I'm like, the same email every time, you just write it all the way out. And they're like, yes, absolutely. I'm like, well, that is a lot of time, and that is a chance to simplify. Like anything like Graham was saying that you do over and over and over again, that's an opportunity to systematize that.
Yeah.
Do you guys use A-text? Not to interrupt you.
You told me about this, Liz. I haven't.
Phil told me about this. This is like a whole triangle happening.
It doesn't have the word shoot in it.
Yeah, we can't use it. Sorry.
I don't know if it'll work for you.
But on that note, back in the day, show it had, shoot it.
That's true.
And you can use the Google, but here it is. There. So I mean, Yep.
It once existed, but yeah, things like A-text can be great. It's a quick little app that you can use that anytime you have something that you write over and over again, you can create like little macros, I guess is what they're called, right? Little shortcuts that you put in and it'll fill it out. Or I use Mac Mail, and I know maybe that's a little outdated, but I love it. I use Apple Mail, and I would just set up my signatures. And so you can create multiple signatures, and you could just have one that says reply to bride, and you can still put your normal signature at the bottom, but it's a great way to do it.
Post 2006, and if you're using Google, you can use canned responses as well.
Yep. Yeah, lots of ways to save yourself time. Now, you have a project, Graham, that you're involved with called Give Yourself Away. And I wanted to insert this here because you've created margin in your life to be able to work on other things that are important to you. So what is Give Yourself Away? Yeah.
So Give Yourself Away is kind of the evolution of an idea that we've had, I say we, my team and I have had for a while. It started with this desire that I recognized in all of my friends who were creatives to give back in some way. And, it's an interesting conversation to have. Like the context of this conversation is good because the issue that we were finding was that people didn't have margin. Creatives didn't have the margin in their lives that they needed to be able to give back. And so it's gone through several iterations, but the thing that it's become is something that I'm really excited about and something we just launched. It's brand new. But it's called giveyourselfaway.com. And we are creating a movement of people who want to do something creative and take the money that they would have gotten paid for that creative thing and give it to refugees who are fleeing their homes in Syria who have nothing but the clothes on their back. And so this is it's a really great opportunity for us as a community of creatives to make the world better. And it doesn't take much at all. We wanted to make it super accessible. We're asking people to just give away one thing, whether that's a portrait session. I have a friend who's giving away encouragement letters. So you can pay him $5. He will write a letter of encouragement to anyone in your life. And then that $5 goes to organizations that are on the ground providing direct aid to Syrian refugees.
Yeah, and there's nothing too big or small because that friend, Josh Solar, put encouragement letters on there. I think he's sold like enough that now $50 is going to the Syrian refugee crisis, which is just from those encouragement letters. So there's nothing too big or too small. And this makes me so proud of Graham. Like, I think anyone with a significant other, they like have those things about their significant other that they like makes them kind of want to undress them a little bit. And sorry, you know what I mean? Like that sexy thing.
This is how you end up with children.
I know. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Field has 3 of them.
Yeah.
Graham's generosity to me is that sexy thing that like I just love that the margin that he creates in his life. He doesn't go and like get his nails done, which is what some people do with their margin. He goes and he creates a website that will help hundreds of people, and I just think that that's so cool. So we would love for you guys to be a part of it.
Well, yeah, and here at Show It, we love things with heart. Right? And this is just one of those things that you can just see the heart behind it. And it's just, this is why, like, I could never be as awesome as Graham Scobey. Like, I gotta be me. But I absolutely love this. And the second when you told me about it, I was like, I'm signing up, creating an account, and finding out, like, how I can be a part of it. Because anytime you get a chance to help people out like this, like, you create there's a reason you create margins,
right?
And I feel like this is it. So I kind of want to undress you too.
And then being able to be really purposeful, I think with that margin is awesome. Yeah. So tip number 3, we've come to the last and final tip for creating some freedom in your business, and I like this one.
Yes.
You wrote down, do the hard work, and that's not always easy. But what does that mean to you?
I think
guys?
It actually implies that it's not easy.
Right? Do the hard work.
It's not, yeah.
But this is the biggest. This is the single most defining factor in small businesses' success and their happiness. Like, it is amazing to me how many people we have talked to over the past 6 years who they know what they need to do. They know exactly. They could write a book on what they need to do. And at the end of the day, the choice to do that thing is entirely up to them. Like, nobody else can do that for you. And a lot of times it just comes down to, like, people aren't really willing to do the hard work. And nothing in life is easy. If it's easy, it's not going to grow you. If it's not going to grow you, it's not important. I just said that really fast.
And very enthusiastic.
Like, totally, for sure.
The best part is, like, they can go back and they can rewind.
Yeah, we're gonna make a GIF out of that.
But yeah, this is something that I've learned from Ashley, the Bermuda Triangle. Because I am a habitual strategizer, right? I want to come up with the plan, and I want to know everything that's going to happen in some aspects of our life before we do anything about it. And Ashley is the executor. She is like. I go into a meeting like, okay, I've got 12 points to talk about, and we don't even get through the first one, and she's like, on it, and I'm going. We don't need to talk anymore. We're doing the hard work. And that's something that for me, that's a struggle. That's something that keeps me from doing the hard work. But it's something that I really admire about Ashley, and something that I've learned from her is that sometimes it's time to just walk instead of talk, right? And it's really important in the beginning of our businesses, but it's also important, we've learned, in sustaining your business. I think a lot of times you get to a place in your business where you're like, everything's good. I'm going to take my eye off the ball for a little while. Like, I'm going to go work on this other thing. And I've done that personally, and our business has suffered because of it, because it didn't have the input that I was giving it, previously. And so always showing up to do the work is really important. And we like the motivation behind that goes back to your why. Like when I'm least engaged with my business, it's the times when I'm least connected to why we have our photography business to begin with. And so reminding myself that I love people, that relationships are one of the most incredible things that we get to experience in the world, and that moments are so incredibly important. That's my why. That's why I do this. That's why I continue to do this. But if I'm not engaged in my business, it's because I've forgotten those three things, and I need that reminder.
Yeah, absolutely. A practical way to do the hard work is to swallow the frog. So that kind of little turn of phrase just means to do the hard work first. Do the thing that you really don't want to do. Start your week, start your day with that thing that you would just put off and put off and put off until it never happens. And this speaks to the importance of discipline in any area of your life, right? Like, there is physical exercise, there's relational exercise, there's
feels like
for some people,
there's physical exercise,
and there's business exercise.
There are gyms.
There are gyms. They do exist. Some of them are $10 a month.
Do exist.
There are things that you do not because you just absolutely love doing them, but because it's important and it's a discipline and it's something that you know is going to move you forward. And that is, something that we have found really helps. So just going ahead and like getting those things out of the way. Like, I don't love client calls, so I do them every Monday morning, and I don't have to worry about them for the rest of the week. So yes.
Yeah, and we all know what that feels like, right? Like when there's that email that we have to send, we like dreaded it, or there's that call, like that uncomfortable conversation that we have to have with somebody, or whatever it is, and you put it off, and then it just hangs over you, and it affects your productivity on everything else that you're working on, because that's all you can think about. You can't get out of that headspace. But when you do that thing first, you get it off your plate, and then you move on to the things that are more enjoyable and that you can fully engage in.
Yeah.
Jamie Delane Watson is a showateer in Canada, and she wrote a blog post, I don't know, it may have been last year or a few months ago that I read, where she talked about pushing the boulders first thing in the morning. Start moving the really big rocks and worry about the pebbles later, because if you just start with the little ones, you're going to be exhausted, and that boulder is like, it's going to look bigger and bigger and more overwhelming, and you'll be like, I'll get it tomorrow, and it just sort of keeps growing, and it hangs over your head. I don't think she said it crushes you, but I like that addition, Ashley. But it's the same idea, right? Like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You got to get started.
You don't need
I think that's illegal.
You're not supposed to.
No, you're not supposed to do that.
Very tough.
Yeah, I love that analogy. I love that way of putting it. Moving the boulders before you move the small rocks.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. Do the hard work, people.
Yeah.
Do the hard work. It's hard for a reason.
And it doesn't always work. As someone I've had multiple businesses, and I had one that failed last year, like so hard, or maybe it was this year. I don't know. I haven't quite gotten over it. I don't think about it. It's like a big black.
It was a year.
Yeah. But I had a business that totally failed and fell on its face, and I could have let that define me, and just been like, well, I'm a failure, and I'm not going to move any rocks anymore. But like, you get back up and keep doing the hard work.
There's so many rocks.
There are so many rocks. Like, you just have to keep working on it. And that, I think that's where you circle back to, like, let go of pride, and don't let those things define you. Really figure out who you are, what your gifts are, and let that define you, and how you're going to go and make the world a better place with the gifts that you've been given.
Yeah, and I love that's part of doing the hard work, is recognizing that you have a responsibility to the world. Like, what you're doing with your time. There's a song, and I can't remember who's singing it.
Are you going to sing right now?
No, I'm going to break it.
Is it Adele? I can help you. Is it Adele?
Hello?
But it says, is this the world you love? You're making it every day you're alive.
Yeah.
Right?
Switchfoot.
Thank you.
Switchfoot.
It's a Switchfoot song. But that's your responsibility is to change the world or dent the universe, however you want to put it. That's on you. And sometimes the hardest work that we can do is loving and serving people.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I know in my life, when I get busy, I forget to serve. I forget to show people love, because the easier thing is to deal with people in a transactional manner. It's to deal with people maybe even like in a not a nice way. It's to serve myself, because I get busy, I get anxious, and then I decide that I'm the only person that matters. But what's really interesting about that is that when I serve, my life becomes simple, right? So service to me is the key to simplifying your life in a lot of ways. It really puts into perspective what's important, and you begin to your life begins to open up. You begin to experience freedom in the fullest sense when you serve and you love people.
I'm so glad I'm married to him.
Right? That's just another one of those, situations.
And another Scobey baby? One of these days, maybe?
3 babies are awesome. Just saying. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your knowledge and your love for the world. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for having us.
This has been awesome.
This has been great. And Ashley, thank you for wearing Christmas pajamas. And I think I owe you. I am going to have to show up somewhere in Christmas pajamas, or I guess whatever you ask me to wear.
I think WPPI.
I
think that
on the show floor.
It makes for, well, at least
I'll be in my pajamas.
At least go to their class.
Yes.
Because they have their master class.
They do.
So at least show up to their master class wearing Christmas pajamas.
Wearing blinking lights.
I will call it even at that point.
I will wear this hat if you show up in blinking lights.
Excellent. We're trying our very first fancy text giveaway.
Ooh.
You know those things?
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But if you so choose to text,
fill in blank number
on your phone
with
Dream
your
Live.
3-5.
Get it? Show it live. Dream Live.
Dream Live.
Dream Live to 555-888. We're going to choose someone to win a 1-hour mentoring session with us. So we'll kind of dig into specifically what part of this business freedom is difficult for you and a challenge for you, and try and really dissect that and try and come up with solutions for that for you.
Awesome. Ashley, what was that number? One more time.
555-888. I feel like I'm on American Idol.
Vote for Ashley and Graham Scobey.
Exactly.
You guys are awesome, and congratulations to whoever wins that. And we'll be sharing that info out. We'll make sure that is on the post. When does that expire? Is that tonight at midnight? Is it tomorrow? When do you have to?
Tonight at midnight.
Tonight at midnight.
Is it all one word or 2 words?
Dream Live, 1 word.
1 word.
Okay, good. I did
Dream
it right.
Live, 1 word.
So good.
Awesome. Well, we will see you. If we don't see you before in person, we will get to see you guys at WPPI. Mm-hmm. We hope that you'll come and join us at the Show a Tier dinner. We hope that you will come and join us at the Show a Tier dinner. Yeah. You can find those tickets online if you go to showatier.com. All the information is there to grab them. And you can also enter to win one of Jasmine Starr's 5 favorite things this week.
Yeah, and then this is our last Show It Live for 2015.
It is.
Yeah, so thank you guys for being a part of this wonderful year. Thank you guys for closing out the year on an amazing high. Yeah. And then we will see you guys again on January
5th. We will be back with Melissa Jill. Melissa is a wedding photographer actually based here in Phoenix, Arizona, but she also owns Align Album Design, and she's going to be with us to talk about album design, and not just outsourcing those, but but actual, beautiful album design, and sort of, I guess, eating the frog on that one, right? Getting that taken care of, because that's something that people put off. And we did announce the winner of the first day of Jasmine's 5 favorite things, and it's Lisa Vandermeulen. So congratulations to Lisa. That's a lot of S's.
Silent clap
in there. Yay, jazz hands for Lisa. Congratulations. And tomorrow at 10 a.m. we will announce who has won the Flash.
Yeah.
I don't know what you and Ashley are directing traffic over here.
There was the silent clap.
It's really difficult for everyone. I'm so.
Oh no, this is really fun. It's always one of those things. Can you not pay attention to what's happening over here?
Yes. So we love you guys. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Scobey.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas, you guys.
See you guys in January.
And a Happy New Year.